people didn't know that, I'm actually successful in business, and didn't realize that I was like basically turned down millions of dollars to do this job, and they can continue thinking it to make $15 an hour. So yeah, but like I said, for me, the whole money part of it, it's not what it's about. I'm all about that growth, and that growth isn't in these massive paychecks for speaking to corporations, stuff like that. The growth for me is in that $12 to $15 an hour when you're out there and it's like 20 degrees and you're freezing your ass off and you're thinking, you know what? I don't need to be here anymore. And you start questioning yourself why you're here. And there's a lot of growth in that. Well, the first one was basically a bachelor's degree with the mind, is how I look at it. And no one knew who I was. So this is the book, Never Finished, is the book that I wanted to come out first. But how am I going to get so deep into something when no one knows who the hell I am? So first, I have to give you some backstory on who the hell David Goggin is. And so I got some basic credentials out there. And now I can dive in more, because most people think I'm just some grey animal who runs and yells, and that's nowhere near the truth. That's maybe what they see in a 1-minute video, and that's what people believe. But there's a lot of thought behind a person being a born loser becoming who I am today. You don't just wake up and just rocky the shit. You gotta wake up and think about, there's a process to getting better, and that process is never finished. You have to learn to cap success. So what I do is, like right now, I don't like doing podcasts. There's a lot of things I don't do that I have to do now to get the message out there to help people out. And what I mean by capping success, I believe everybody should live their life. So everything that someone says in life, take it with a grain of salt. Take what they give and don't be like, oh, David Goggin said this or whoever said this. No, do not take what I say and do exactly what I say. So for me, what makes me who I am, because my mission is very different than yours or anybody else's. I have to go into a situation where, okay, I'm a guy who wants to make people better. For people to get better, I have to continuously get better myself. For me to do that, I can't just say, oh, I have this resume, the resume is there forever, I'm good. I have to cap my success, because for me to help people out, I can't just say I did it once and I'm good. I have to continue to reinvent the wheel of the mind and figure out more and more ways for you to pull. Because if I have a cookie cutter message, it may hit 5 people out of 25. You just failed. My message needs to be in a way where I can hit all 25 people. It needs to be broad enough to where all 25 people may not like the message, but they're getting something from it. And that is evolution. You must continue to evolve. And you don't evolve, for me, in my job, unless I cap myself somewhere and say, okay, you made this much money, get back to fucking work. It's time to get back to work. Stop hearing yourself talk. Get off the podcast. Don't be on social media too much. Cut out all the fucking noise. Get back to the fucking mental lab, because that's where the knowledge came from. So for me, I must cap myself so I can come back with better, more unique knowledge versus all that cookie cutter knowledge that's out there. That's why people buy the books I have, because it's not cookie cutter. It's real knowledge. I was born David Goggins. David Goggins wasn't good enough. He was a scared, bullied, abused kid who struggled in life. And that kid, whenever something got tough, no matter how hard I trained, no matter how ready I was, whenever something got tough for me, David Goggins, the real David Goggins, would come out and he would quit. So I realized this over a period of time. So I had to build Goggins. And in that process, I had to go back to that mental lab. And that mental lab is at scratch. That mental lab is in that trained humility. And so that's where I get better. I get better when I'm digging holes in the ground, when I'm waking up early knowing I don't have to do these things. That's where I get better. It's important to stay hungry, but it's important more to stay humble within that hunger. So while you're hungry, a lot of people are hungry, but humility is everything.
About William Crawford, the janitor.
Yeah. So this guy won the Medal of Honor. So he won the Medal of Honor, and which is the highest award in the military. And this guy went to the Air Force Academy, and he was a janitor. And no one knew who the fuck this man was. He had the highest award in all the military for heroics. For heroics, saving lives, putting his life on the line. Could have been killed. And he is now basically, cleaning shitters for young kids. And we can all imagine how that probably went. There's probably some, little bit of taunting here and there. And he just sat there and cleaned the shitter. So that's why he's in my trained humility part, because for this man to be at the level he was and have that kind of humility to go, I'm a Medal of Honor winner, but I'm gonna put that in my closet, and I'm gonna pick up my broom and dustpan, and I'm gonna pick up, this rag and clean this shit for these young men. That right there is amazing for me, man. That's where you grow. That's growth, huge growth. And also it shows that he was doing his job. He was a servant. He didn't look at himself any better than anybody else. And the second you do that, you totally lost. You cannot look at yourself like people with me even. I always look at people. I know where you are. I know where, because I've been there. That's why I help so many people out. I've never been above you. I've always pretty much been beneath you, and that's where my knowledge came from. So I know how to reach those people who are in the dungeon, because I've been there so many times. There's very few people in this world who want to do a job like that. And it takes a different kind of mindset. Is it tear gas appropriate? I don't know. How hard that training is, I don't expect anybody to understand it, but 1%. But the loud voices of this world are the 99% who don't understand exactly what you have to do. That's why when I speak and you don't understand me, it's probably a good thing. Because that probably means I'm in an area of life that you're not in, which is fine. That's why I don't judge people. And this guy right here judging that, unless you've been there and done that, and you really can't speak about it unless you're in those situations that are so hard that it takes a special human being to get through them.